Oh yeah, and welcome to episode 52 of the Temple Bard podcast. Now you've won for every week of the year with me, Jim Wynn, and Philip Noon. Philip, morality.
Morality, Jim, right and wrong, but I'll tell you something before we get to it. We have a lot to catch up on, Jim.
We do. You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. Actually.
You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar, folks.
No.
You didn't.
Were. I could put you back there too.
You didn't get an episode last week from us. We were very busy last week.
We were busy, yeah.
Very busy last week. We just had loads on every day, and we were the guests of the Human League on Friday night.
Yeah, top the Human League we did.
We were the guests of the Human League, and it was a great show.
Yeah, it was a great show, and it was in a great spot as well, Collins Barracks, which is, if you haven't been there, it's like it's surrounded on all sides, an old barracks, great old buildings, and it was great crack.
Big shout out to Benjamin Lee Smith. He's the keyboard player in the Human League.
Shout out Ben, yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, and what a talent.
Yeah, great, unbelievable show, great talent, and it's one of those bands that I've obviously heard of, but I never would have gone to see.
No,
for that we were talking to Benjamin and also, but we went and really enjoyed it.
So, what was not funny but mad was we knew two songs. We knew that we were going to know "Don't You Want Me, Baby." Don't you want me, because everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And the gig was obviously building up towards that, and then the one that
Electric Dreams.
Philip Oakey and Giorgio Moroder from the film Together in Electric Dreams, and that was amazing.
That was amazing. We did a post about that. Did we do a post?
Oh no, we definitely did a post. Yeah.
It was
were
unbelievable.
At that stage, we were
we were going into there was no queue getting in. There was no queue getting up to the stage. But by God, getting to that drinks tent was a fucking palaver.
That was tight. And so the songs were going all night. We didn't really know many of the songs as the night was going on. But
a lot of them you kind of knew. I've heard before, but I didn't really know.
Just that 80s synth beat, that it was cool. Yeah. And then I decided to go to the Jacks during "Don't You Want Me" and missed one of the only two songs we knew. Yeah. But came back just in time for Together in Electric Dreams.
And Together in Electric Dreams we were.
And it was the perfect time to go to the Jacks. Just come back fresh and just ready for that song.
Fresh, empty, and ready to bop around with his old pal Jim.
The old gin and tonics were flying.
Yeah, so we had to go up and you had to try and get 3 or 4 drinks each at a time because it was such a long queue for the bar, which is...
And no bother. No, the boys did it.
The boys did it, yeah. The boys did it. We were carrying trays. They actually ran out of the trays to carry the drinks then. So I started bringing the trays back. I brought 2 back. And Jesus, I made someone's night by giving them one of them. So... yeah, we were helping each other out. There was everyone we were looking at there were teenagers when we were kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we were. So we would have been the youngest people at the gig by about 20 years.
There was a few other younger people, but there wasn't many.
There wasn't.
The 2 gay fellas that we were talking to at the end, they were similar age to us, no? Or a bit younger even. You don't remember? He asked if we were a couple.
That's class.
And I said, no, we do a podcast.
When was this?
It was at the end. After the lads goes, we said, they're not going to play Electric Dreams. And the man goes, they're going to play Electric Dreams as the encore. Because he'd seen them before, he knows the crack.
Right.
And then we got
I do remember this.
Talking to them after, and he goes, you was a couple. We were like, no, we do a podcast.
A couple of fucking Egypts.
A couple of drunken Egypts, yeah. But, it was good crack, yeah. Jeez, and it was on my birthday.
I'm only after, that'll tell you how heavy that night became, because I'm only after remembering that now, because we drank a lot.
We did drink a lot, Jesus, yeah. And that was only the beginning. We went off into town. We went drinking a lot before then.
We ended up in Whelan's, which, now listen, Whelan's it's an institution.
Yeah.
But it was empty.
Yeah, there was a gig on, I think we'd missed, there was a gig on before, there was a band on, but we'd missed that. So we paid in just to go to a silent disco. It wasn't great, the greatest. Well, we had great crack anyway.
We did.
We were on the buzz, but it wasn't. We were expecting something different anyway.
There was a lot going on in Dublin the weekend. Robbie got Garen up.
Yeah.
To do Country Roads. Shout out to Garen. It's great to see Garen back.
It is, yeah. Back with a new lease of life.
It's great to see Garen back because he was away and he has agoraphobia. Imagine having a fear of crowds and being in Crow Park in front of 80,000 fucking people.
In a lot of ways, that's probably, people, when you're up away from it might be easier in a way. You know the way you
as opposed to being down in the thick of it.
Maybe being in Whelan's would be harder.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say that, people who are big, the A-list stars, they say that being on a stage, when they get to play it somewhere like Whelan's, it feels much better to them because when you're up in Croke Park, you can't really see anybody. You're just up away from everybody. Whereas in Whelan's, you can kind of look at the crowd. Like, you know the way when you do gigs, like you're analysing everybody in the crowd and stuff like that. So, yeah, maybe in a way that's easier. Which would be a duality collapsing, really, if you think about
drink.
it.
Good and early.
Yeah, good and early. So we were talking about morality today because, you know, we all have our own view of morality. There's things that we would have as shared cultural moralities. There's a lot of people who would say that, you know, a lot of people are putting the fear out there that the morals of our country are under threat from new people coming in with different morals and all. But, you know, we tend to forget that the morals of our country weren't the morals of our country even 10, 20 years ago. Like the two gay lads we were talking to, like 20 or 30 years ago, that would have been
illegal.
Illegal, yeah, illegal.
Illegal until 1994, 1995,
yeah.
I think.
So I think with morality, we have to see, like everything else, it's a shift in sand. You know, it's always moving around, and so at the end of it's well to be patient with people, and as we interact with new cultures and stuff, the moralities start to gel together, and we come into the next thing. I told you, I was at my young fella's match there on Sunday, and there was they were playing another team anyway, and the other team had like 2 or 3 black fellas on the team, young lads, and one of the lads on the team says, "Oh, Sean passed," and he goes, "Oh no, sorry, not Peter," or whatever his name was, and he goes, "You all look the same," and they all had a laugh about it. You know what I mean? So a few years ago, that would have been, oh my God, but it's something that you could see on paper as being a racist, terrible thing to say. But the lads all know each other. The kids get on together. They've got past the barriers of the first.
But that's it. I think when you get, because I remember I went to school. I remember lads that I went to school with, and even lads that were friends of ours growing up. Like, I know people will go with something and they'll go with but like a lot of it is the crack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's, and once you're all on the same wavelength,
once it's not coming from a place of malice.
Yeah, but what happens is when in the internet, especially in the internet age now, people come from outside something and they project the malice onto it. You know what I mean? Whereas something could be innocent or it could be just a laugh. Like racism to me is like thinking you're better than someone because of their race or hating someone because of their race. And I think the best way to do that is to get so used to each other that we can make fun of each other. Like we'd make fun of each other, or loads of groups of lads. They kind of make fun of each other for all sorts of things. Like that's part of the love, you know what I mean? In a way.
It is.
So it just goes to show you that morality or what we see as good and bad from different perspectives is a different thing, you know?
Can we tell them about our fight now?
I can, yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind, yeah. Well, it all started with a kebab man. It
always starts with me being drunk in a chipper.
Yeah. Started with Philip being drunk. Do you want to tell you from your perspective and I'll tell you from my perspective?
Yeah, so I obviously get into a fella. I have this problem with people making me food. Like, I always end up fighting with them, especially when I'm drunk. And some fella told me to relax. And I was like, who are you telling to relax? Just being a tramp with a few drinks. And so me and him got into like a bit of an argument. And like, there was no boxing around. It was just a bit like he grabbed me by the arm or something. And there was a bit of tussing. So I was like, I'm not on my own, and this Jim's here as well. So I turn around, Jim's not helping me. Jim's filming me on his phone for content.
Yeah. Well, that's Phil's perspective. I'll tell you my perspective. I was absolutely twisted drunk, by the way. And
we weren't sober.
I wasn't turned around filming him. He was over my shoulder. I was filming him because I was sitting there. I was talking to the camera and goes, "We're in a kebab shop. Phil's over there starting a fight with a kebab man, blah, 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 yapping." And I was just like having a laugh about it. And then I put my phone down, forgetting all about it, waiting for my burger, twisted. And then Philip came over and was like, I could have been getting killed over there and you fucking film, you know. So we had a big row. I was like perplexed about what happened. I had no idea what happened. I thought it was all a laugh. I didn't know it was anything serious.
Eating the sulkiest grub in the world.
Yeah, the dude was sitting there looking at her, eating our burgers like, cunt, you fucking prick. So yeah, we had a real
so it's not all plain sailing here at the Table Bar podcast. No. Even though we were grand 4 minutes later in the taxi, there wasn't a bother on us.
I nearly got a taxi by myself. I was like, Philip, listen, fuck off. I don't know what happened to you. I'm going. I nearly got in a taxi by myself, but then we ended up getting a taxi back. We argued a bit more. We sent a few messages back and forth about who was right and who was wrong, but in the end, we realised that I probably didn't see the gravity of the situation. That's morality. Yeah.
That's morality.
It's a perfect analogy for it.
And you were saying something about you remember the dresses that were golden? Was it gold and white or blue?
Yeah. Because as we see a good idea of perspective, and I think this is something that is coming with the collapsing the dualities or the entrance into the new level of consciousness that we're all slowly getting moved into. Like, you'll all remember those Facebook posts a while ago where it was a dress. This dress is blue and gold, or it's green and something, and depending on who you ask, they would swear to you.
Yeah.
And like, I've seen people say it was the opposite of what I said, and I said, no, it's not. It's obviously this. And the same thing happened to me. If any of you remember the Jussie Smollett thing that happened a few years ago, where he said he was attacked by Trump supporters, and then it turned out that he paid for them, or that's whatever the story was. I watched a documentary about it the other day, and at the end of it, I won't ruin it, but there's a video showing to people on both sides of the case, and everybody says the opposite to each other, like depending on their perspective or their point of view. So it just goes to show you that we all think when we look at something, and it's any issue, any personal or global issue or cultural issue, we can look at it and swear that's what it is, and someone can look at it and swear it's something completely different, and we can argue about it, or we can just accept that you see it that way and I see it this way. And I believe the more that we try and argue about it, or the more hate or fear we put onto it, the more hate and fear is brought into the globe, the bigger picture. And so that's why I think it's best to surrender and just understand that people have different perspectives. So we all have our morals about what we think is right and wrong, and we obviously have laws and rules, and of course no one's saying that we should not have those laws and rules, but just I believe that the more we can see that people just see things the way they do, and whether you disagree with someone, yeah, but just seeing them as the creator, just as you are the creator, just seeing them through a voice of love, I think that we can lift fear and bring it into the light, and that's how it transforms. So it manifests as fear and hate and all these issues, wars. This is all because we've agreed that this is like a this or that, one side or the other, and that's how these things happen. And I think the more that we see, yeah, we can have our sides, we can have our opinions, but the more that we can just lift it through love into the light, the more these things become less chaotic, I think. That's just my view of things. I've been reading a good book lately called the Book of Mastery, and it's a series of channeled stuff. It's a bit like the Law of One in kind of simpler language, but more practical. The Law of One's all about not really giving you any advice, because they want to preserve free will. And this one says the same thing, but it has more kind of little things of advice, and just talking about the new consciousness we're all entering into. And very good.
Good stuff.
I've been getting a lot from that.
I was telling you, I'm reading a very different book at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of morality,
so it's actually it's a very serious book, because it happened where I'm from. It happened in Cavan. Alan Haw in kind of Virginia, Ballyjamestuff area. He was a principal in a school, and he murdered his wife Clodagh and their 3 kids. And this book is written from, it's her sister, Clodagh's sister, that has written the book. And I'm only halfway through it. I'm not going to tell you too much. I'm not going to spoil it on it, because it was recommended to me by someone. And after, it's
a lot.
It's a lot. Now, it's absolutely brilliant. I probably shouldn't be reading it before I go to bed every night. It's like the last thing. It's like it's really tragic. It's really, really tragic, and really brilliantly written. But I'd recommend.
It's the sister of the victim, isn't it? Of one of the victims.
It's sister of Clodagh.
You were saying, yeah.
Sister of Clodagh.
That reminds me, actually. I sent you the video. I don't know if you watched it, but I sent it to my family as well. There was an Australian. This story in Australia where there was 7 kids out walking.
So I told you why I wouldn't watch it, because you sent it to me, and you wrote something underneath it. And when I read what you wrote underneath it, I said, I'm not going to watch that because it's going to get me tick.
Yeah. Well, this is the morality. This is the question. So there was 7 kids out walking in Australia one day, and a fella who was drunk and on drugs came around the corner way too fast, ploughed into them, killed 4 kids, 3 of them from one family, and the other one was a cousin. So they were all from the same family, and another fellow was brain damaged. And this was the story of the father of those 3 kids that were killed going to meet the fella in prison who did it. And I just saw, basically after a few days, the mother came out and said, I forgive him. They're very staunch in their religious beliefs in Jesus. That's the way they see it. And it was just so beautiful to see how all that pain and how they dealt with it and how they were able to forgive. Not from a place of, I have to do this, so I am. And the way they did that, the guy in prison like fell to his knees and just, he wants to be like that. It turned him into a different human being, because through that forgiveness, he saw that it's possible that anything can be forgiven. Even he was obviously blaming himself terribly for it. Like, it was an accident. It wasn't something he wanted to happen, but it was his decisions that led him there. And it was just a beautiful example of the power of forgiveness and the power of acceptance. And another thing I've looked up, when we see like protests where it's like Israel out or, refugees out, any protest with hate has never really got anywhere. And if you look up the protests that are all non-violent, Gandhi, the civil rights protests in America,
Tiananmen Square or whatever.
Yeah, these ones are the ones that have stuck and made actual change. Because when you attack fear with fear or hatred, it just gives power to hatred. Whereas if you can just sit there and be, like, as they say, non-violent and just passive protesting, I believe that's where real change can come. And it's just something, that's my belief, and everyone is entitled to their own. But and through forgiveness and acceptance, this world can change in an instant. It's just once we all once we all get up to that vibration that we need, this world can change in an instant, I believe. And so I can't remember the name of the family, but it was in Australia a few years ago, and it's just a beautiful story of the power of forgiveness.
Do you know who's a big fan of passive protesting?
Who?
The CEO of Foot Locker.
Yeah. Who's that? What's he?
He's just the one that always gets fucking robbed whenever a riot kicks off. So he's just like, So he's just like, peaceful protest, please, please, and I'll peaceful protest.
It's
always Foot Locker. It's always Foot Locker gets fucking done.
There's no bad press, Philip. And to be fair, like the price of runners, like they're getting made in a sweatshop in China for about €2, and you're paying €260 for them. So, every peak has its valley, and every valley has its peak.
But yeah, no, I do see what you mean about peaceful protesting, definitely. But
yeah, it's a difficult one, like, because it's when we as an ego, we as a separate being, we see injustice. We want our compassion seeks us. We feels like the compassionate thing is to hate the thing that's hating, but that to me is just it's a zero sum game, because hate it's like karma. It just adds to the wheel of karma and just speeds it up, and it has to come to chaos then. Whereas I think, and it's not like you should be peaceful, you should do whatever you want. But I believe that when we get to a place of being able to accept people more, it won't be like an overnight thing, but as we slowly get better at accepting people and lifting hate with love instead of hating hate, I believe that's a way we'll change the world quicker and better than we could ever do with.
It's easier to do in some cases than others. Like, I don't hate Donald Trump. Right, I don't hate him, but he does some things that can kind of, like, recently I saw a video of him talking to the Prime Minister of Libya. Their first language is English.
Yeah.
In Libya, and he looked at the man dead in the eyes and he said, "Your English is very good."
Yeah.
And Imam was like, and he said, "Where did you learn to speak English in Libya?" Imam said, "Yeah." He said, "Your English is very good. Your English is better than most people's English at this table." And your man sitting going, your man sitting going, "Is anybody? Is he for real?"
Somebody should have, but he obviously probably didn't know that, and somebody.
But should he not know that?
Somebody should have said
should
it to
he
him
not know
beforehand.
that?
Yeah, but
is that, should that not be in the memo?
Yeah. But sure, look, when we talked about it before, the presidents of America are a very easy view for me to see that, like, that the power structures we've thought of as in control of us or looking after us are all falling apart. Like, the dualities of these two parties or these
are collapsing.
Are collapsing.
The dualities are collapsing.
So they're like, then who's going to be the next
Depending
president?
on what
Ronald
you're
McDonald. Could be your man out from Foot Locker.
The CEO.
More riots. Yeah, but so what I do that is, instead of going, Donald Trump, they speak English there, just go, this is someone who doesn't. He's only got his own perspective, his own view. I see that he is the creator. He's a manifestation in this way, and I just accept him as he is, and that's all. I don't have to do any more to him. I don't have to agree with him.
So when you call everybody the creator, explain that to me.
But right, we're all the same. We're all the sea. The sea is consciousness.
Okay.
We are all waves on the top of the sea. We see each other. We can see each other on the top of the sea, and we're all headed to the shore to crash.
Okay.
And these lives will end, and eventually we all go back to the deep ocean where everything is calm and beautiful and blissful. So we can look at a wave and go, I don't like to look at that wave. It's very violent looking, or it's a different wave than I like to be. But if you can just see that when you do see, and it's not like if you can, you reach a certain point. This is my belief. When you have that awakening to the fact that we are the sea, and once you've had that awakening, you'll still get taken by waves and believe that someone is different. But the more you can see that it's just a wave, and together that wave is destined to crash on the shore and go back to the deep sea where we all are, where the largest portion of us is always there.
And then we start again.
Then
we make our way to the top and crash again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sounds fucking exhausting.
Well, it sounds exhausting to the wave that thinks it's a wave. When you're the sea, you're just the sea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
I hope that explained it a bit better for me, because sometimes when you do it, like I just let you go. I'm just like, I'm like, I'll pick up on a bit of this now in a little while and see. But that made a lot more sense.
Yeah, well, it's whatever metaphor works for you. Like,
we're in episode 52, and I'm getting closer to knowing anything about the law of one.
Well, you don't know nothing about it. I mean, it's impossible to know. As the personality, like, it's impossible to know. It's just this book I'm reading now. It gives you a lot of. It says, what we'll tell you is things that are truth. Not truth now, but what will be always true. And that's, I am here. Not me, James, not me, the dad, not me, the musician, not me, the fellow wearing green runners, not me, the fellow doing the podcast. The I am, the awareness, that'll always be here. So the more you can tell yourself, I am here, I am here, I am here. That's what I've been doing the last week or so.
Have you ever heard this mad theory about deja vus? You just
heard lots of them.
So you just reminded me of something, right? I heard a theory about deja vus where we are already dead.
Right.
And this is us remembering our lives.
Yeah.
And every time you have a deja vu, that's you remembering that you did it before. You were like, oh, and you're like, oh, and you have this millisecond memory of being dead, and you know you're dead, and you have this millisecond memory of acceptance, and it weirds you out. So you go, oh, that's weird. I feel like I've done this before.
Yeah.
So this is the theory on it, that we're already dead, and this is us replaying. This is us replaying what this life was, and in that, whenever you have a deja vu, that's you remembering that you did it before. You're like, I did this before. Yeah. Because I'm having loads of them at the minute. Now, if I die in the next few weeks, clip the fucking life out of this.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting them more and more recently than I was before. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that, because I was Googling, I was like, what the fuck are deja vus about? Because I've had a couple that are like really weird. And like some of them to the point of like me doing something and knowing, I've been like, oh, but I knew I was going to do that.
Yeah.
So if, God forbid, if it's my time in the next few weeks or in the next, clip this because it's been happening more and more. And I wonder, will it get to a point where it just keeps happening and then you eventually accept, oh, okay, I know what's going to happen. And then you die.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've heard that. But and that's a legitimate way to look at it. The way I look at it is like it's a familiar frequency. So, if you hear a song like a hit song, and you recognize the key or a chord movement in it, and you go, oh, I've heard that. You'll hear a song, and then you like the way you can mash up songs.
Yeah, of course.
So you hear it, and then you hear another song, a familiar song, and that's what I think that is. It's like a familiar frequency that we're used to. And when they start, when I had my spiritual awakening, they started building up loads of bells. So maybe you're on the way to the big awakening, Philip. But
well, I'd rather that than be on the way to. But sure, listen. Let's see.
Well, there'll be no you when it happens.
Look, let's just.
There'll be no you when it happens.
Let's just ride the wave, Jim. Let's just ride the fucking wave.
Just ride the wave to the shore, bud. But yeah, it's a synchronicity. Like it's just a realization of the oneness of everything. Really, I mean, we can analyze it into whatever way fits us. But yeah, I think deja vus are a big part of the synchronicities or the spiritual experience, I find as well, in my experience anyway.
There you go.
So yeah. And morality as well. Deja vu is the history repeating. Like as well, it said in this book, we live in a place where like wars always happened, and as far as in our egoic history, there's always been wars, so there'll always be wars. We need to let go of the fact because something's in our history we believe has always happened doesn't mean that it always will happen, because we can, even the ego knows that nothing's permanent. So things change, and we've gone through a history where we tell ourselves that wars have always happened, so then they will always happen. But that's just that's a collective agreement.
Well, it's funny you should mention just frequencies. Frequencies are mad because I don't know, like a lot of people listening to this will be, on a straight level of consciousness and maybe have never tried anything psychedelic or anything like that. But ayahuasca and DMT, which I haven't done ayahuasca or DMT, you have, and you had a spiritual awakening, but from it. So what I'm saying is, like,
I wouldn't say I had the spiritual awakening from that. I saw things that were, the thing with psychedelics is you have this experience and your mind's blown, but then after a few days you go back to.
Well, do you see? So this is it. I remember having an experience before where I took this thing and I felt like I was in between time.
Right.
So I remember this, and I remember feeling like everybody around me were all there, but it'd be okay if they weren't as well. I felt like I wasn't on the same realm or on the same frequency, let's say, as everybody else. It was maybe 10 years ago, but I remember feeling like this is, I'm not here. I'm not, and listen, that's, psychedelics might do that to your brain or to your pineal gland or whatever. But I remember feeling like I was there, but I wasn't really there.
Yeah.
But I felt really calm about it too. I felt like as if I understood it. So I can only imagine like what ayahuasca or DMT or something that puts you through
They blast you through. Yeah, that's the thing with it. Like, and I've seen people who are like, it wouldn't be spiritual at all, who have huge spiritual experience, and for like a day or two after and then you go back to normal. That's the thing. That's the difference between that and the spiritual awakening. The spiritual awakening, once it happens, there's no going back. It's like you've seen it now, and you'll always see it. Even you'll have dark days, and you'll still crash to the shore. You'll still get lost in the waves, but you'll always know that you're the sea. That's the difference. Like, I think you can have psychedelic experiences, and maybe you can have a psychedelic experience that does the same thing, but that's not how it worked for me. I had amazing experiences and felt the oneness of things, but I always went back to the ego and got lost in it and didn't see. Just got lost back in the game.
So what if, and this is just a what if your spiritual awakening was, maybe you were at a place in your life, now this is just a maybe, this is just a theory, maybe you were at a place in your life where you felt like you were so out of control or you couldn't control what was going on, and this was a coping mechanism that your subconscious developed to keep you safe.
Yeah, you can look at it that way if you want. You can look at it any way you want. I can only tell you from my perspective of it.
Because at that time in your life, it was a dark time. It was like
it was. I would say it was. It was a dark time before that, because I'd my voice was fucked from Cyprus and I was away, and then I.
Your voice is unbelievable, by the way. I went to one of his gigs the other night, and you sound phenomenal.
It's getting there now. It's getting there. But we had. I was rehabbing, and I was expecting this to last a few weeks. Then it was a few months. Then it was a few years. And what happened was I started seeing. I told you about pronoia. I started seeing like the universe help me. I'd always seen like numbers and stuff like that, and I never, I always just did. Sometimes I thought it was something. Sometimes I didn't. And then I just started seeing. I felt like I was getting messages. Like I'd see something with not like a psychotic message, but just like little tips on the shoulder. Like I'd see things online, something I could try to help heal myself, and that all happened like that. And then I was at a party for one of my friends' things, and I fell asleep, and I was 38 or something at this stage, and I got shaved and drawn on, and pictures sent all around, and that just sent me into a big dark place for a week or so. And then I started watching. After that, I came out of it, and I started watching all these videos about the law of one, and that's when it just clicked in me. So you could say it's a coping mechanism, and that's
no. But
And to you, it could be it, or to someone else could be called. I can only give it from my perspective, and it's
no, because you see, so this is how I see it. I believe that it's a belief system.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it, or I haven't awakened, or I haven't woken up to it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a belief system because it's something you believe, and it's something that you've seen. That do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
whereas I would say that from my perspective, it's a belief system that
has been witnessed.
Encompasses all belief.
Yeah.
So just like even you saying it's a coping mechanism, or someone being an atheist, or someone saying it's
no. I'm not saying it's a coping mechanism. I'm just saying.
But I'm saying, but that's a legitimate view of it, because it's all the view. It's all the dance of consciousness. It's all it's all the play. So that's what I mean. So it goes beyond religion or a set of beliefs or a set of dogmas or anything like that for me. And so so everything is a legitimate view of it, because nothing is really it. Like, and it's even the law one isn't it? The book I'm reading now isn't it? It's just what resonates within you, what lights the light within you, and it's like I've seen the treasure, and now I'm like going around with the beep 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 beep, and for me it goes beep 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 there, but for you it'll beep 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 over here, and everyone has to find their own view of it.
But what we do is we get up and we fucking love, Jim.
We fucking get up and love.
We get up and love.
Love yourself first as well. That's the hardest one.
That's it. Listen.
That's the hardest one.
Listen, let's bring it back to self-love, because I think that's the hardest of everything.
For most people, it is.
Of everything. because I was acting the bollocks there for a few weeks.
Yeah.
We don't have to go in. It came to a head. But I wasn't
morality and mortality.
Mortality and morality had a big clash. Yeah. Not a life clash, just a clash of really not looking after myself. Yeah. And you do get a kick in the arse to make you go, do you know what? Fucking slow down now. Just cop yourself on now, slow down now. No more messing. Start eating right, get back into the gym, start sleeping right. Yeah. Because, when you get out of it and you get into the other bad habits, especially in our game. In our game, when you're singing at night, it's very easy to have a pint of Guinness after it.
It is.
It's very easy to have a pint of Guinness during. Yeah. So it was one of those ones that I didn't recognize it getting away from me initially, but I wasn't fucking wrong. I wasn't long recognizing it.
But paranoia, things that happen that seem terrible at the time, you can see, once you've seen the patterns, you can see that was it for your benefit. I mean, it was a scary moment or whatever, but it's showing you a way, and the lessons, I believe that the lessons that we're here to learn, they'll come around again and again.
I'm not saying it was a scary moment. You're saying it was a scary moment. I'm only joking.
You know what I mean? But the lessons always come around again and again, So we can choose as many times as we want, and we'll get as many goes of it as we need. So it's not like you have to finish it in this lifetime. There's nowhere to go. The most important thing, in my perspective, is just the fact that we're here. Just the being. The human being is more important than the human doing.
Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. Accept yourself. And that's as I say, loving yourself first, and not judging yourself. Because I often, my ego is, what I always do is judge myself for judging myself. It's weird. The ego is a very complicated thing. It's a very interesting pattern once you get lost in the analysing of it. It's just the letting go of it is the hard part, and seeing past it. I know it's an illusion, but I still get lost in it all. You see,
I find it a lot harder in that the world, especially technology, is designed in a way to make you see what they want you to believe the right way is. And I mean, they've manipulated success, jobs. They've manipulated romance. If you look at different timelines, there are so many different opinions and views on what people believe romance should be, all being thrown at you at once.
Yeah. Because there is nothing that it should be.
No. But what I mean is, a lot of it, we know this. We probably have a better understanding of how social media works in terms of videos and viral videos. So what you're being shown, because we've had some very successful ones, right? And the ones that we think are going to do well are never the ones that do well. But then we put out something else and it'll fly.
Yeah.
Do you know? And that video we did last week, the one that we said, we were we put out a good video on something that was funny, and we got 400 views on it. And then we had a very small clip saying has anybody noticed the downturn in the economy? And I got 37,000 views or something.
Yeah. So
in a couple of hours, I was looking at it going, I didn't think that video was going to do fucking anything.
I'm the same. I go, geez, why isn't this one I'm proud of this one, or I wanted this one to do well. But at the end of the day, I know who's supposed to see it will see it, no matter what we do.
But what I'm saying is the algorithm picks up So like the algorithm will pick up something on success and show you that.
Yeah.
But it wants to show you that.
In a way,
or it'll pick up something, as I was saying, on romance, or it'll pick up something, as I'm saying, on racism or on immigration, but it'll pick it up and it'll show you what it wants to show you.
Yeah, and I think the algorithm is like a metaphor or a for our law of attraction, like we've said a few times. So if something's trending, it's because people are either supportive or fearful of this thing, in like a group of people, or a certain amount of people have put that vibration in there, so that'll be called forward. That'll be called by the algorithm. The algorithm is just doing, like, I don't think it's a malicious thing. Like, the algorithm is doing it for any reason other than that's what's kind of trending, or that's the vibration.
There's a couple of families in Bohemian Grove that disagree with you, Jim.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there's people like even that, like,
the conspiracy theories.
All the conspiracy theories are just.
I find 1 o'clock every night. That's my algorithm.
Yeah.
My algorithm knows he's still up. I'm showing him 9/11.
The conspiracy theories, I feel like, are just it's the universe or your higher self trying to show you over and over again that not just that's an illusion, not you've been lied about that, but everything you think you are or is a lie. It's a lie you've told yourself, and the way out is just acceptance. But that's what I mean. The conspiracy theories are great,
and
crack.
It can always change.
It can always change, and it will change. And at the end of the day, I can look at 9/11 and say that dress is blue. You can say it's red, and both of us are right, and both of us are wrong.
No, I'm right. I'm right. I know exactly who it was.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not saying it on this, Mr. Rothschild.
It was Ronald McDonald. But yeah, so again, it's morality and how we choose to perceive it. And so, yeah, we've got our own cultural morals and stuff, which are always changing as it is. I mean, we went if you look at the history of Catholicism or Christianity, there was horrific things done in the name, like crusades and inquisitions. People say now about Islam that they don't respect women, or they don't respect LGBTQ rights and stuff like that.
People are talking about the Jews.
People are talking about the Jews being in control of everything, or up to something, this, that, and the other. But again, like, it's just people have different cultures and have different views. So what you see as horrific, someone else sees as heroic. What you see as heroic, someone sees as horrific. And I think by seeing that in other people, doesn't mean you have to agree or accept what they do, but just to see that they see it the same way you do, or as and bring it into the light. Don't hate, love hate.
Oh, nice. Ooh. Well done, Nidji.
Love hate, yeah. Nidji.
Well done, Nidji.
Yeah.
I love all those little metaphors. There was a really good one the other day, and it said, "A cat will never become a lion until he loses his hunger for rats."
Oh yeah. But then again, a cat is a lion. A lion is a cat.
There you go, Jim.
It's
there
the
you
same.
go. Madness.
You can be oppressed and you can be the oppressor. And I guarantee you, somewhere in your life you're the oppressor, and somewhere you're in your life you're the oppressed. And we all to one degree or another are always on either side of the duality. And that's the thing, is finding to try and stop the pendulum swinging so far either way. Try and stay centered. And staying centered means acceptance and forgiveness. And I don't think there's any better way to say it.
No, that's it. That's it. Do we have a boldness of the week? Alexander Isak.
Did he not play that game?
No, he hasn't done anything. He's still in his gaff.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Alexander Isak, the Newcastle player, has decided he just doesn't want to play football anymore unless he's playing for Liverpool and can leave for Newcastle.
There's a lot of players doing that now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's
in a weird way. Yeah, you can say he's using his autonomy to get what he wants.
But I think
I would say you could worry about, like, if he's going to do that for Liverpool, what's he going to do when Real Madrid come calling?
But footballers, I think, since the whole Mesut Ozil thing, I think footballers take the absolute piss. Look at Bruno missing that penalty the other day. The referee bumped into him, and in his interview, he had the cheek to say, like, he never said sorry to me and all. Oh, fuck off!
I said, my brother he was going back to Malta, and I said, here, be careful taking off. Bruno's penalty's still flying around. Yeah, but it's funny what gets into people's heads, and yeah, so
it's football for us. Like, it's definitely football. Yeah. It's definitely like football for me.
Football for me used to be able to bring me from one extreme to another.
Oh, it brings
easy.
It brings
I'm
me
a lot better at that now. That's a good example of something that I found quite easy to do, which was something that I put way too much importance on in my own view of things. And what Man United did would bring me to one extreme or the other. and the same in how I'd look at opposition fans and all. But now I can see it for what it is. And yeah, well, I still want United to win. And when he misses that penalty, I'm like, oh God. Or when I see Liverpool winning in the 135th minute, I'm like, here we go. But I can see it and let it go. You don't have to tell me yourself any more stories about it.
Good stuff.
So there's no moral high ground. There's no moral low ground. We're all the same. And that's it for episode 52 of the Temple Bar podcast. The moral of the story is love. Stay bold.
Sláinte.